Aliens give final warning to planet Earth. Stop attacking extraterrestrial ships now, or else. So this is coming directly from sources within top secret, unacknowledged military programs. And according to Dr. Greer, these sources, at least 3 times, they have uncovered communications from extraterrestrials. So top secret military has intercepted no less than 3 alien communications saying ETs will no longer tolerate crash retrievals, capture of extraterrestrials, or shooting at extraterrestrial craft by humans. In case you didn't know, elite human beings, those that have been running the world, have been in a war against extraterrestrials for at least 70 to 80 years. I believe it's actually been going on for 13,000 years, but that's another subject. We know for a fact, at least for the past 70 to 80 years, human beings have been targeting extraterrestrials, have been shooting them down, have been killing them, have been taking them hostage, have been experimenting on them, have been torturing them, doing all kinds of things you can't even begin to believe. So, as it turns out, there has been intercepted communications from extraterrestrials talking to each other, saying they're not going to put up with it anymore. Now, so just to give you a little bit of background, 70, 80 years ago, we didn't have a whole lot of technology. As it turns out, our radar accidentally had an effect on the ships, the Roswell crash. That crash was because it was by accident. Human beings were using this new thing they had invented called radar, and it happened to mess with the ET's navigation or something like that. I believe they have since corrected for that. But from that time on, human beings have been perfecting and creating weapons to target and take down extraterrestrials. That was bad enough, but what's been happening over the past 70 years is that human beings have been reverse engineering and continuing to improve on our anti-gravitational technology to the point where our level of technology is almost indistinguishable from extraterrestrials. From our perspective, from a human perspective, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference. If you saw a human flying saucer and an ET flying saucer, we would not be able to tell the difference. That's what was going on in with all the drones and everything and all the sightings that are happening. The majority of the sightings that are happening of UFOs are actually humans. Humans pretending to be ETs. That's what's happening with the alien abductions. I won't take time to talk about that. So what does this mean? It means that the dark forces are planning to orchestrate a global catastrophe to finalize control of human populations. ETs will not let this happen. So the pressure is getting to the point, not only are humans extremely dangerous to extraterrestrials, friendly extraterrestrials who are here to help us. They've been with us for thousands and thousands of years. They are our spirit family. You have a soul, they have a soul. They have been human beings before in other incarnations. You have been extraterrestrials in other incarnations. We all came together many thousands of years ago, and we came up with this idea for this school of the soul called planet Earth. And that's why ETs from many different civilizations have been coming here, because they're part of it. You're their family member. So these human beings who are out there shooting at ETs, they don't even realize that those ETs might be their great-grandfather. There could be somebody that they've known when they were an ET on another planet. So it's very saddening and painful for them, because we're their family and we're crazy and we're attacking them. But it's getting to the point where our technology is almost on a par with them, and that makes us extremely dangerous, not only to our planet, to them, but to other planets. So the pressure is mounting from their perspective, they have to protect planet Earth, which they see as a goddess, as a soul. And they have to protect their family, us, because we're getting ready to destroy ourselves. And they have to protect themselves, because we now have weapons that can go beyond dimensional boundaries and are very dangerous to other civilizations in other dimensions. So the dark forces, they've lost their mind. They are planning to orchestrate a global catastrophe. Look what's happening. Look what's happening. I'm going to put links below. Look what's happening with the weather phenomena. Look what's happening. What has been happening for the past 5-10 years? It's all coming out, what is going on. Again, links below. But it's getting to the point where human beings are absolutely, at least the ones that are doing all this crazy stuff, are an extreme danger to everything and everybody. So if forced to protect the Earth, the extraterrestrial response will be massive and instantaneous. So I know, because I'm an extraterrestrial contactee, I've been in direct contact with extraterrestrials for the past over 3 years since I did CE5, which is human initiated contact with extraterrestrials, and I really went at it with everything that I had. And when I was able to communicate with them, I said, I want to take this as far as it can go, even if it kills me. And they granted that request, and I have been in communication with them ever since. My reality isn't anything like it was, and me talking about how aliens feel about us, I know that from personal experience. It's nothing I've read anywhere. And the 99% of what you see about ETs is garbage. Almost all of it is either people's fantasies, or it's outright lies, or it's people who have been MK Ultra'd, people who have been taken captive by humans pretending to be ETs. This is what we call alien abductions. These people are actually, this is like part of the MK Ultra mind psyop experiment. And anyway, it's gotten to the point where these people know they are going to lose. The people running this world know that their time is limited. And so they are now very dangerous. And so ETs will step in if it means they have to save the Earth or save humanity or save themselves. When they do, it will be massive and it will be instantaneous if they choose to do that. So we need to talk about what are the possibilities here. Different scenarios. Number one, humanity awakens. So that's the ideal. If we were to awaken, and if people were to stop giving power to these evil people, and if we were able to take control of this nonsense and de-weaponize our secret military and pull our heads out of our rear ends, ETs wouldn't have to step in. I don't know if I have a lot of hope that that's going to happen. Number two, ETs eliminate the elites and occupy Earth. So the Hopis have a very interesting prophecy, and it's not like a biblical prophecy where, thus saith the Lord, this will happen on that day. It's what they say is, they call them the dark forces. That's why I use that term, not only to avoid, having problems, but also to honor that, because that's exactly what they are, the dark forces. And they talk about the dark forces, and they talk about that there are certain, time, if you want to call them timelines, I'm okay with that. There are certain timeline breaks. And if, for instance, the first one was if when Europeans came to the New World, the Hopis were waiting for them to show up. And they knew that if the Europeans showed up and If they wore a cross within a circle, which, by the way, my ancestors used to do that. They wore a cross within a circle. It was a sacred symbol. If they wore a cross within a circle, it meant that they remembered who they were, and you should welcome them in, and this will bring in, a new awakening on planet Earth. And so they were hoping for that. They knew that the white man literally was going to come. And when the Spaniards showed up, they didn't have a cross within a circle. And so the Hopis went, okay, we better just dig in deep because things are going to get really nasty here. So that was the first one. And then there are more. I'm not going to get into all of them, but in one of the scenarios, if we don't get ourselves together after 2 or 3 or different timelines, then there's going to be one where the elites are going to have their heads separated from their bodies in front of the whole world. That might be symbolic, it might be literal, but it sort of hints that it will be done by some kind of supernatural being, supernatural power, perhaps extraterrestrials. So that's the second possibility. The ETs eliminate the elites and occupy Earth. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do this because human beings are already going to be afraid of them. Even if we were on a righteous spiritual path, we would be frightened. I'm telling you right now, having experienced real extraterrestrials, not the fake gray aliens, not those aren't real ETs. Those are human-made robots or people in costumes or stuff pumped into your brain. You think you're seeing something. No, actual extraterrestrials, they are on a whole different level. They are higher dimensional beings. Higher dimensional doesn't mean that they're thinking in we don't understand what that is until you've experienced higher dimensional frequencies, like really experienced them. You don't know what this means. I do. I've experienced it, and I can tell you that if you're not ready for it, it will absolutely freak you out. So they don't want to come here and take out the elites and occupy Earth because human beings aren't ready for it, and it will flip them out. But that's a possibility. If people can't get it together, and if we can't stop destroying the Earth and attacking them, they may have to in order to save themselves, save the universe, and save us, because they want to save us. The main reason they're here is to help save us and help us to shift up. Third possible scenario, the solar flash ascension. So I'm just giving you the possibilities. I'm of the opinion now that I do not, at this time, I'm not leaning towards the idea of an instantaneous solar flash event. I have communicated years ago with ETs about this, and they did say that there was going to be a solar event. And this was before I'd even heard of the term solar flash. I knew that there was going to be some kind of massive awakening event. What that was, I don't know. I was trying to figure that out. They had showed me that this was going to happen, but it was in a very symbolic way and without any specifics. And I said, what is this ascension event going to be? Is it going to be fleets of spaceships landing on Earth? Because that's the only way I could have imagined it. And the response was no. It's going to be a series of solar waves that are going to hit the Earth and shift everybody up. In fact, the quote is solar waves of love. So a series of solar waves. Now, as it turns out, we have already had this. Starting in December of 2022, we started getting hit with massive solar storms. I won't get into it, but I remember when this was happening and the ETs were saying, this is it, it's starting, the shift is happening. So we've already experienced that. We may not be out of it yet. I'm okay with the idea of an instantaneous solar flash, but My take on it right now is that the solar flash has come and gone. And so what's happening is that the solar energy has penetrated into the earth. That's why the earth is going through so many changes. That's why there's so many earthquakes and so many volcanoes and so many other strange things going on, because the earth is now beginning to shift and change. So that's one possibility that would prevent ETs from having to swoop down and occupy Earth. Number 4, the 3D, 5D Earth split. This one is very hard to imagine. I have to tell you, I'm a very practical person. I'm not a new age person lost in fantasy. There's no shortage of people out there that, I'm not one of those people. I have to have proof, and I have to have personal verifiable experience before I'm going to believe something. I've had enough, I won't get into the communications I've had, but I've had enough communications with ETs to believe that there is very likely some kind of Earth split. I don't know exactly what that is. On the extreme end, it's possible that there might be 3 different frequencies, 3 different octaves of Earth. They might already exist. And whether or not you live in a certain frequency depends on the frequency of your projection. The 3rd dimensional world that we live in is a frequency projection. That sounds simple. Why don't we change our frequency? Go ahead. Change your frequency to another projection. People who say, I'm already in 5D, it doesn't work like that. If I was in another frequency projection, you would not be able to see me. I would disappear. How do I know that? Because I communicate on a regular basis. Sometimes physically, I communicate with extraterrestrials who are in the room with me. But if I open my eyes, I can't see them. But sure enough, I can feel their energy. And if they want to, they can let me know that they're here. They can touch you and do all kinds of things to let you know they are physically in your presence, but you can't see them. Your hand would go right through them. So that's a real thing. And I have had communications that have let me know that there might be 3 octaves of Earth. I'm not jumping on that. I'm not, prophesying that or preaching that, because, to be honest, I haven't experienced it yet outside of my astral body. In my physical body, I haven't experienced it yet. And I just don't know if that's possible. I'm open to it, but I don't know. Definitely, if we go down on a less extreme note, I do believe that Earth is splitting. That's obvious. Earth is splitting. And consciousness is splitting at least in 2 different directions. So that is a real thing, and that is happening. How literal we take it, I suppose we'll find out if we're open to it. So these are all the possible scenarios. So what can we do about it? ETs need our help. Here's the thing sorry about that. ETs need our help. This is something that I've learned very recently. Up until very recently, I thought they were above us and they were here to help us. They were condescending to help us poor humans. And I've come to find out that that's not the case. The truth is that they need our help. They need our help to shift. If we don't awaken, if we don't ascend, they don't get to ascend either. And they want to ascend. They also want to experience the new earth that has been promised to be created. It's been, even in religions, even in Norse mythology, there's a new earth that is created out of the old Ragnarok, the earth that gets torn apart. There's a new one, a higher frequency one. And these extraterrestrials, they need and want that new earth. And they need our help. We need to awaken so that this whole process can happen. It won't happen without us. The earth won't shift up to a new earth, a heaven on earth, if we don't do our part. So they desperately need our help, which is one of the reasons why they're not fighting back. They've allowed themselves to be attacked and harmed and taken captive and all kinds of other things. And they're doing that not only because they don't want to cause us harm because we're their family, but also because they need our help. Because the truth is, human beings, the souls within human beings are actually extremely high level light beings. We happen to be in very dense physical avatars that make us do stupid things. But the whole point of that is so that we can grow beyond it. And when we do, we become very strong. So they need their older brothers and sisters. That's how they view us. We're their older brothers and sisters, and they need our help so that we can help them shift. So that's another reason why they haven't attacked yet. All right, so what can we do? We can detach from the 3D narrative. This is the toughest thing. I don't say this easily. Listen, I'm bumping into 3D issues all the time. I'm right now racking my brain trying to figure out how I'm going to pay off some debts that I owe, which has everything to do with my ability to, rent the home I'm in and have a car and, all kinds of things like that. So I don't say this lightly. But first thing that we can do is detach from the 3D narrative. First off, you have to understand one basic truth is that money doesn't exist. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be paying rent next week or the end of this month. I am. But that doesn't mean that money is a real thing. And we need to wean ourselves away from money, property, fame, reputation, all the things that the powers that be, really the banks that run the world, what banks want you to do to become a slave, basically. We have to break beyond that. So I recommend people don't go to college trying to get a degree because they're going to try and turn you into a mindless slave. Don't try and be a part of the corporate structure. Do what you have to do to eat and pay bills and be comfortable, but move away from that. Don't become part of that narrative. Number 2, what you can do is CE5 contact. It's very simple. All you have to do is, if you've never done it before, just Google it. The letter C, the letter E, the number 5, and then the word protocols. There are CE5 groups all over Facebook. They're all over the world. I do CE5 here basically twice a week. And so you can come onto this channel and do the free meditations. So do human-initiated contact with these higher dimensional beings, because their energy, if you allow yourself to experience the frequency that they're at, it will destroy your third dimensional attachments. Not necessarily an easy thing, but it will do that. Now, don't get me wrong, it's incredibly blissful. They have love. Because they're in a higher frequency, the love that they have is even more blissful and more selfless than anything we've ever experienced. But when you experience love at that level, it's like looking God in the face. And the old saying, you can't look God in the face and survive. So your 3D reality will start to come apart. But the more that we do that, the less power the human dark forces have. Okay, number 3, do interdimensional meditation. So what I've done is I've taken the CE5 idea and I have expanded upon it, and I've been doing what I call interdimensional meditation, which when you start getting deep into that, you start finding out, how incredibly powerful human beings are. So you can check that out on this channel, because we do those once a week, every Wednesday. Okay, do learn to shift frequencies. This is the hardest part. going out, doing CE5, first making contact with ETs, getting used to their energy and learning how to communicate with them, which is a whole other thing in and of itself, and then taking it the next step. Because here's what they want. I can tell you what they want. What they want first is to awaken you to the reality of who you are. So they're going to make you feel deeply loved, like you're looking God in the face. And it's going to be real. It's not going to be fake. And then what's going to happen is they're going to start revealing to you what your soul is on higher dimensions. Remember I said that human beings are actually their older brothers and sisters. We are the most powerful light beings in the cosmos, and we've chosen to incarnate in this school. So they know that. And when we awaken to that reality, that we are actually the gods that have come to Earth, and that we are the gods who've created this galaxy, this cosmos, when we realize that that's who we are, every single human on this planet, if you were to see them in their true form, that's what they would be, no matter how ridiculous they look now. In their true soul essence, they are the most powerful gods that exist. And so these beings want you to awaken to that. And I've told you, not only do they want that for you, because they love you, because you are their family, but because they need you to awaken to that level so that they can ascend to the next level on their journey. So you can learn how to shift frequencies after you've done interdimensional meditation. Here are a couple of resources. Go to contact.thunderwizard.com. So I've made a video course, Galactic Contact. It's a 10-step practical video course. Learn how to communicate with and channel higher dimensional extraterrestrial beings. You can do that by going to contact.thunderwizard.com. The instructions are there. And this is extremely important. As you see here, I not only have learn how to communicate with, but channel higher dimensional extraterrestrial beings. One of the things that human beings can do to help initiate this is to actually become a conduit for the higher dimensional energies. And I do this when I do the channeled sessions, when I do the channeled personal guidance sessions. I'm not only channeling what the ETs are telling me about the person. Unlike the average New Age channeler who does, channelings for the collective, and that's not what happens. What they're interested in is communicating directly to the individual and awakening people on an individual basis, and that has to do with you knowing who you are. And we all have different powers and different functions and purposes. We all we're not all the same. So these beings know who you were. You might have been the lord of such and such galaxy in a previous life. You're the being that was responsible for the interaction of the life force web. You're the being that helped create planets. It's going to be something that grandiose, that unbelievable. But everybody's is different. And so when I channel to an individual, they are telling the individual through me these very unbelievable, hugely powerful truths about themselves in higher dimensions. So you can do that. I'm not looking to be the next Moses. I have no interest in being the guy who has all. I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to be the next Bashar who channels and only I get to talk to Bashar. I'm not going to be that guy. I want to give you the power to do that. So when I channel this energy to you in these sessions, you then now have it. And you awaken and you can go use it. You can channel it to other people. So I want to be a part of teaching people how to do that. So that's what this is about, contact.thunderwizard.com. And another resource is channel.thunderwizard.com. I already told you about that, the channel sessions. So those are two resources. I encourage you to take advantage of both of them. We have every week, we have the live guided interdimensional meditation every Wednesday. And we have the CE5s, which we do on this channel every Saturday. Live guided CE5 meditation. This was the one that we just did most recently. All right, that's it, my friends. This is it. This is exciting for me because this is how I feel. I mean, I'm happy to hear that ETs are finally, they've had it up to here and they're done. And they're thinking, you know, we may have to step in and do something here. And it's not ideal because I don't know how humans would respond to that, to be honest. I don't think they could handle it. But the dark forces have to be stopped. And human beings need to be released from this slavery that is happening and the destruction of the human race. All of this stuff has become just unacceptable. So I don't know what that means. I'm open to anything. If they want to come land on the planet and take over, I'll be more than happy to give them the keys. If it means that we're going to split into two different worlds, and one will be a new 5D Earth and the other one will be a slave planet that will just be locked away in some hard drive somewhere, and you know, humans can stay there until they decide to, you know, be locked in their room until they decide they want to, you know, play nice, then I'm happy with that too. But something has to happen. Something has to happen. This cannot continue. Something will change. All right, so that's it, my friends. I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves. You know what to do. Thunderwizard.com. Go check that out. Go check on memberships to see how you can subscribe to the channel. Keep me from living in my Jeep. And go to the shop and learn about the very powerful practices. I'll give you one practice that has been very helpful, and that is Awakening the Immortals. It's incredibly inexpensive. I think it's something like $25 or something like that. It's very inexpensive. It's very powerful. It's probably the most powerful Qigong practice, you know, that I've ever seen for sure. And when people do it, ETs show up. ETs will show up and connect with you if you do that practice. It's a way of shifting your frequency up, guaranteed. You don't have to try and get yourself in a good mood. You can just do the practice and your frequency will shift up. Having said that, guys, be patient. I am at this moment editing the new Maoshan first spirit fighting set, which I'm almost ready to release. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That's it, my friends. I love you very much. Please be very good to yourselves. I'll see you very soon.